Our next question now, back to me again. Sorry. Parts of rural Oregon lack internet service. Since children are mostly learning online right now due to COVID-19 pandemic, what will you do as state leader to help bridge this gap? Ms. Miller.
Well, first of all, listening to communities, I know there's a lot of different opinions about the way to move forward with education, but the first thing I would do would be to support the expansion of rural broadband. And I know there was a bill in the short session that Senator Findley voted against that created a tax in urban communities from cell phone service to create a fund to expand rural broadband. And this is another example of something I worked on telecommunication for the Warm Springs tribe and looked at the way that we fund and the actual lack of infrastructure throughout rural Oregon. So this is not just an issue of access for education. This is also just an issue of economic development, an issue of access to phone lines for 911. This is a very serious issue that we need to start, again, looking at relationships between corporate telecommunication companies and elected representatives, and then how they're voting on those bills impacting those things. The very next thing I would say is, again, I have experience working within the state on education, and there's a lot of opportunities to expand funding for education throughout the district. We need more schools, we need more diverse schools, we need more trade programs, and then we need more seamless funding that allows for training and jobs within the communities so that we can keep that intellectual capacity in the communities after education. My experience as a former educator, my experience working on these work groups, creating standards for public education because of a House bill creating ethnic studies, as well as Senate Bill 13, a tribal curriculum bill. I have sat at these tables and looked at the process of how you pass bills, how you allocate funding, the steps of creating standards, professional development, all of those things matter. And you're right, it's not one size fits all. We need to look at what trades are needed. We know that there are trade areas and professions that we need, like electricians. We're going to need renewable energy technicians. We need to start looking long term of how to create these workforces in education, and that's what I plan to do.
All right, thank you very much, ma'am. Senator, same question to you. Parts of rural Oregon lack internet service. Since children are mostly learning online due to the COVID-19 pandemic, what do you do as state leader to help bridge this gap?
Thank you. When 2 years ago, when the governor established the state broadband office, I was on her press release in full support of that effort because I think it's the right thing to do. I was opposed to the broadband bill as it was written because it just gave $10 million to Business Oregon and say, go build an infrastructure and have a nice day. I requested a list of projects. I requested deliverables so the taxpayers knew what they would get for their money, and they were unable to provide that. And I repeatedly asked for that. I said, give us a list of what you're doing and I will support it. But I'm just not going to give Business Oregon $10 million and say, please go have a good day and build this broadband stuff. And they have yet to produce the list. So until they do, I can't support just giving the state agency money without deliverables attached to it. So.
All right, thank you very much. Ms. Miller, 30 seconds.
I think, for me, this broadband, once again, this is another example. Some of these statistics I talked about earlier, these have been issues a long time in rural District 30, and there have been every opportunity to deal with them. And as somebody who has had to earn and be elected to my positions, I run for issues head on and make sure that I'm going to do something about them in a timely manner. I disagree that there needed to be a no vote, and ultimately this did pass, fortunately, because of Democratic control. So I look forward to seeing this fund expand our infrastructure.
All right, Senator, 30 seconds.
There are two different areas in communities in this district that have requested rural broadband support in the John Day, Grant County area, and they're about to get all their fiber put in with the help of my predecessor and federal grants. There's a big project going on in Harney County as well. We need to continue to support that. There are specific deliverables that are tied to the taxpayers' money, so we can go back and say, this is what you got for your money.
All right, thank you, sir. The discussion's been terrific so far. I appreciate both of you coming here tonight. That's it for the questions tonight. So we're into closing statements now. Ms. Miller, you're going to get 90 seconds now. Tell us once again about yourself, why you want to represent District 30.
All right. Well, like I said, I grew up here. My tribe has existed here since time immemorial. They're always going to exist here. I'm a mother of a young son. I care deeply about what happens to the land, to the animals, to the people in this district. And I've been groomed since I was born to be a responsible citizen, and now that translates into being a responsible leader. I come from a family of leadership. I come from a father who was a logger, a grandfather who was a rancher. I've seen the impacts that our district has taken economically, and from a very young age, I've had to deal with them and make very tough decisions. I was elected as a young leader, and what my leadership taught me will translate into making good decisions for this district. But more than anything else, I grew up here. And I was classmates with a lot of you. I was teammates with a lot of people. And I have to believe in my heart that we know right now it is time for us to change. And it is time for us to make decisions that we might have not ever made in this district, because we have to start doing what's right. And we have to start caring about all people in our community and electing people who are going to care about all people and make decisions for what is right, and not just what is legal. I have the experience, and I come from a community that raised me to do that. So please, look into our campaign, look at my experience, look at what my tribal community has made me, and consider voting for me.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Senator Findley, you now have 90 seconds.
Thank you. You know, after nearly a decade of strong financial growth, our state government is bloated with regulation and power. We need to restore the balance of power to the legislature and recognize the critical roles our cities and counties play in our great state. The majority party wants to raise your taxes by an additional $1 billion per year to sustain this out-of-control growth. The state of Oregon does not have a revenue problem. It has a spending problem. We must capitalize and utilize our diverse natural resources to get out of this hole we're in. I'm a fiscal conservative who believes we achieve more when we work together, and I have a strong record of collaboration. The state is facing incredible challenges that will continue to impact all Oregonians. The challenges are budget, wildfire, rebuilding fire-damaged communities, public and cultural respect, and public health, just to name a few. My experience in leadership and natural resources, public service, collaboration, infrastructure, maintenance and development, and my ability to reach across the party and racial divides are well proven. I ask for your support and your vote as your state senator.
Very good, sir. Thank you very much, both of you, for coming in tonight. This is the race for our Senate District 30. That's to our north, and to our east, it is the largest Senate district in our state. I'm guessing one of the largest probably in the United States as well. Thank you very, very much, both of you. Great discussion tonight. That does it for our edition of our candidate forums for this 2020 campaign cycle. Hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have. Very enlightening. Remember, you cannot mail in your vote at this point. You got to get it in. Has to be in the clerk's office by 8 p.m. on the 3rd of November. That's a week from today. Thank you very much for watching. We will be back later with more news and weather on First at 10 on Fox. Have a great evening.